guy who cameraed me riding my tractor.
A beautiful toad. He may have a hard time getting out of this container, so I'm going to release him. He's already had a good bath, it appears. Yeah, I bet he wants out, so he or she can hop out, go find a mate, or find a place to lay eggs if she's already done that job. Well, not a good place, because probably can't maintain this for the lives of the young to go through the process of from egg all the way to toad again. Takes a while. But it is good clean rainwater. And let's go ahead and take this sweetie out of there. Sitting in on March 15th, 2008. So maybe you're ready to be released in the grass here. Can we see your Tommy before we let you go, Mr. or Missy? Oh, did you say something? Ah! Some of your ancestors may have lived over on Aspen Ridge, and that's not good habitat anymore, so our yard here in World Peace Wetland Prairie are great places for you to be. You're not going to be cleared that way or burned off or soil removed or any of the foolishness that's gone on that property. So let's get a better look. You can go ahead and say what you want while we got the camera here. You sing. Whoa. Hope to see you again and we can get some more quotes on your feelings about this winter and spring coming up. Any more comments you want to make? All right. Migrants. We're looking at the native honeysuckle, and you see the way the leaves look here, and the ones right over there. Those little bitty, you say they're green, but they have some red purple tint to them. That's the native honeysuckle vine. And here's the end that we photographed so much. It's broken off, and you see the new growth coming on the stem. Okay, so this is trumpet honeysuckle, primarily orange, maybe a little yellow mix, part of the period of bloom, but you see the vine is underground here. If I can spot some more of this, we'll know other areas to protect. But right now, see, this goes way over here. There's some there. Stems out there. And yes. Okay, here's some going that way. And let's see if we can find some. There was some over on this tree, and it got trimmed back in the summer by a volunteer that wasn't able to identify it. And we'll just give it time and come back and look, because we know some of the vine that comes over here is the native. The question is, can we identify it? We'll have to have those leaves coming out. Of course, this is a little plum sapling, and we'd love to have the native growing up it and not the, and I think we may be in luck on that. The little plum is trying to bud out too. You'll see these sharp points will become, have now started to have a bud on the end. So that's a giveaway for these. See how sharp some of them are? They haven't budded out yet. So that's a variety of plum, and we hope it is a native, but we certainly want to maintain it for the possibility it'll provide a nesting site for a songbird or two, and it will also provide some fruit for the deer, and we might even eat some ourselves. Come along at the right time. So we want to identify the native honeysuckle vines here, and what you're looking for will be those little leaves such as these. Rattlesnake master. Appears to be a button bush. Maybe. Sure looks like the right form. Milkweed stems are down. More rattlesnake master stems. But there's a big old, okay, maybe, is that the big old, what's that coming up? Same thing. There's also some beautiful milkweed right in this area. How you doing?
Good, how about yourself?
Huh?
How about yourself?
Okay. Somebody left a nearly full can of beer back there.
Oh no.
Yeah. What a waste, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah. A lot of debris gets left. You live around here?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Kit.
Kit? I'm Aubrey Shepherd. I live right there. We've been working on this project for a few years now.
Yes, looks nice.
It's,
I just moved to the area. So.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, it's we spent several years, starting about 2002 when they first had it up for sale. Before that, they sold it once, and then another guy put it up for sale. And this 2 acres, not the part out front had 2 houses where you come in, and they were torn down by the developer after he got it, and he got this approved. This would have been apartment building right there, apartment building up here, one down in that corner, and all this would have been paved parking. So right here I can show you some of the things that grow out here. Well, this is what's known as a button bush. These stems here will have big white flower. It'll be, you know, a lot of tiny flowers, and they'll be right on top of these stems like this. And so that all comes from down in there. And there, you ever go to Lake Conway, or you ever live down south?
Not really, just when I was younger.
Well, these are all over eastern United States, but down south they get real big. I think actually the record for a button bush is 2 feet in diameter and 20 feet tall, but it's in California. But they're big ones in Florida and Louisiana, where the swamps hadn't been messed with. They grow in the water, and so this is a wet area through here, of course, and the main flow area through here is back there. But that's just one of the native plants. In this little opening right here, there's no telling how many species of native plants grow in here, and you won't see them all at once. You'll see them coming on as it gets towards summer. Like see the big seed pods over here, those right there. That thing was real tall. Well, you can see parts of it here, but it was stood up like this and spread out real pretty, and it's called a white wild indigo. The bloom is white, the flowers are white, and then basically every seed pod was where a flower was. So it's quite a spectacular thing when it's in bloom. You can see them a lot of places around here, but now that they've got the heavy machinery and a desperate need to develop more, places like this are getting paved over. So so you don't have where are you from originally?
Washington State.
Washington State? I think they got Well, they've got some of these same things are native up there too, but they're it's funny when you read one state will call a plant a noxious weed, and another state will say it's a important wildflower. Depends on where it's growing, whether it gets out of control and becomes invasive and takes over a place. Now this, the stems you see down here, well, this is a thistle, and I can't tell the native thistles from the non-native, so it's kind of hard. Well, I mean, we've removed a lot of thistles. This was the seed pod of one of those orange milkweeds they call the butterfly milkweed, and it's real pretty, spread out like this. This is one over here. You can see the stems went way out this way and way out that way. 2 or 3 of the pods are still there, parts of the pods. The seeds are all gone. This little stem here is the same as that one that has the seed pods on it, white wild indigo. But this one came out, it was in the shade, so it came out real late in the season, never had any seeds. It didn't bloom. It was September and October, it was still growing, and when it got frozen out, it hadn't had a chance to bloom. So it's all in the luck of the draw where something's growing, how much water. Like these, the indigo, white wild indigo, can grow on drier land, and that button bush has got to have pretty consistent water underground. At least there's a lot of underground water in all this country, so it's just this is such a small patch that we've rescued, 2.5 acres, that you've got a radical difference from the flow area and where some of the little flows come in from the sides and from up that way, that your plant body will be very different just a few yards away. That's the one I showed you first. There's another one of those right over here. You can see that red thing up there. That's a stalk. Those stalks aren't going to do anything, but they're just marking where they were. Somebody's cleared that. Lawrence probably cleared that out. You see a lady working up there? Yeah. Yeah, she probably cleared that stretch. But under here, you've got a lot of big, different kind of milkweed. It's green. It's called a spider milkweed. It spreads out a lot of little fingers like, and has all these little blooms. Down on the ground, you'll see sensitive briar. I can't see it coming up yet. I'm sure it's starting, but it'll be real thick in here and some other areas, but you'll have beautiful blooms on that for a period, and then it goes to a real briary thing that you can't handle very well. But you see just dead things right now, except this Japanese honeysuckle climbs over things, and we've got native honeysuckle in here. One thing I was looking for, I just took a look at last year's native honeysuckle, and the kind of seeds that are coming out, I mean the kind of leaves that are coming out on it are different from the Japanese honeysuckle leaves. The small ones, they're more elongated, and they're both elongated when they're small, but they aren't. The Japanese is rounder compared to it, and you can, right now if you look at those, you can tell you don't have any right here, but we know there are other patches that have been here forever. See, from before, this was never an area cleared and used for the farming. This used to be a big dairy farm up here on this side, and this was, historically it had more water than it does now coming off that hill, and they had it ditched when they built a trailer park out there, and so it's probably, with the new development, we've made arrangements with them that they can pipe some water where it comes under the railroad from up the hill, bring it over here instead of letting it go down in the creek, and it won't flood. It'll decrease the amount of flow for the people that live on this side of 11th Street, back right in this strip here, because it floods their yards and all. But downstream, the water that comes in here is going to soak in more, whereas what they pipe down there would be going right down the creek. And people that live south of 11th Street to 15th Street historically have had a danger of flooding, and it's actually been in 1 or 2 houses in the past. And with this paving, it's coming down a lot faster and uglier muddy right now. Every time there's so many cleared pieces of ground up there that it's just nasty runoff, silting in the creek. Creek's a lot shallower, the fish aren't doing as well in there, and that kind of thing. But anyway, we've got a lot of interesting plants out here, and we're main job, like what she's doing right now, is digging some holes and preparing to plant some trees up there. We're not planting many trees on this part. We're primarily focusing on the native grass and all these native wildflowers like this. And there are many species I can't name. I'm too old to remember names. I won't remember your name unless you tell me next time you see me. But anyway, it's so. See, you're still working on planting holes out here. Is that pretty much what you've done all day? You were working on that earlier when I came by here.
I'm kind of digging up the soil to plant and moving some things around and trying to pull out all the Bermuda grass I can and find what's here. It's probably not that important to find what's here, but it breaks up digging up the soil and makes it more interesting for me. So.
Well, it's nice to know what you're digging up and tearing out. That's for sure. It's really sad to.
You have to pull out the Bermuda grass, but what I can, I'm trying to move around because we need to keep what we can of the most local.
Right.
Here's
and you don't want too much soil uncovered. This is beautiful soil.
Plantains that are in here that are fairly spectacular, even though they're kind of clean. Their name would lead you to believe, but in a project, you gotta move what you can when you can. The soil is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's a gorgeous time for it right now.
Yeah. I guess the only triumph I had was just finding the, catching the leaves while they're really small on the Lonicera sempervirens, the native honeysuckle, because last year I didn't see it at that stage. I didn't recognize it, and this year I had marked those vines you helped me do that day, so I was able to get pictures of the same stem that I published several times over the period of the year that showed the plant in bloom, the native honeysuckle Lonicera sempervirens in bloom, and then with the berry at the end after the bloom, and then crumbling, coming apart, broken off, and so forth, and then got it with the new leaves. So that's a kind of a nice thing. So it's nice to see these things as they come along here. So we hope by Earth Day, which is a little more than a month away, you'll see a lot of pretty things out here if we don't have another real deep freeze this year as we did last year. At this time last year, there were a lot more blooms on these fruit trees out here and a lot of other plants, and we lost those. We never got any fruit after that because those blooms were frozen off before Earth Day, and there were various things in bloom, including the Lonicera sempervirens had bloomed at that point. But it got an early start and somehow survived that freeze and kept going, but so many things never produced a single berry or any kind of fruit, and no acorns on some of the oaks. Some of them came back and produced more than we expected, but they had to produce new leaves and start over. So we're just hoping it's a little better this year, and look forward to April 20th, Sunday afternoon, 1 to 5 for Earth Day on World Peace Wetland Prairie. Yeah, they're really nice. Start down here. Maybe it'll be a sunny day tomorrow and it'll be a little easier to enjoy it out here this time of day.
Because the more moving you do, the more, well, I don't want to disturb the soil more than we need to, but
Yeah.
this is pretty well disturbed soil, so.
Oh, yeah, nice. Natural rain garden on the Moody property. Detention pond near the Razorback Road and the 15th Street intersection. Kind of dirty water coming off parts of this site. Got a duck visiting today. Can't tell for sure if it's a gadwall. What it is. See the stormwater outlet over there. Goes straight into the stream when it's running, and right now it's running out. Over here is where it comes off the new development here. Goes out over there. And the duck ducks enjoying the pond, enjoying the rain. I don't know. We always assume the ducks like the rainy weather, but it does make some wet places they can feed in the woods, prairies and stuff that they normally wouldn't use. But fact is, that duck may be just as miserable as I would be if I stood out there in that rain. Duck isn't telling us anything, but you can assume it's not perfectly comfortable. Anyway, it's nice to have ducks hanging around Fayetteville this late in the winter. Probably be going north. Doesn't have a mate, so won't be trying to nest around here like some of these mallards do, and all these Canada geese. Yeah, they're beautiful just over here when they nest on the retention pond at the baseball field. Maybe we better take a look at that place before we take a break for lunch today. It's getting closer to noon, I imagine. Be able to identify this duck when we show it on a big screen, I hope.
How you doing?
See that duck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them around here. They hang around.
Uh-huh. Speculating on whether that duck was as miserable in the rain as I would be if I was out there. We always joke about having duck weather.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I used to love to go hunting on wet weather when I was young enough to stand the cold.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure the ducks really like that weather.
Oh, yeah, I
Any more
don't
than
think they do either. I don't hunt ducks myself, so I ain't got that to worry about.
I used to love it.
I was just kind of curious. I've been kind of nosy a little bit. I see you around here taking pictures and everything. Not meaning to be rude or anything, but what are you taking pictures of?
That duck. I've been on him for about, I've got a lot of pictures of ones over there at the stadium.
Uh-huh.
And then they go different places in the neighborhood.
I think that right there was actually born right there.
Was it?
Yeah.
Or was it one of the young
Yeah.
ones over there?
Yeah, there was only two when we started this job.
Uh-huh.
And they've actually raised two broods over there.
That's right. Two broods.
Yep.
A pair of mallards. I can't see if that one's a mallard. I think when I see it on the screen, it may be a little hen mallard, but it may be a gadwall. There was this one single duck that was there all year and would last summer and fall and would stay away from
Everybody.
the families. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure it's one of theirs. Although mallards are kind of promiscuous and sometimes they have mixed broods with.
Yeah.
They get around, you know.
Well, yeah, bunch over there. They fly back and forth between these ponds. There's a lot of fish and stuff in this pond.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was surprised. Well, I hadn't been down here till y'all got the streets all done to see what the ponds and all look like. So I didn't know this pond was here till
Yeah.
a week or so ago.
Hell, during the lunch hour, I'd have guys in here fishing.
Really?
Yeah.
Some of your workers?
Yeah.
Bring your fishing gear?
Yeah, during lunch hour. So.
What kind's in there? Brim? Or?
There's brim, largemouth. And,
Really?
yeah.
Somebody stocked them then because they couldn't have got that many out of that creek because the water doesn't get high enough for them to come up here.
Well, I think it's a whole lot like little bitty ponds around. You know, they get hung up on bird and ducks' feet.
I guess so. I've never understood how they could do that, but that's what the old timers tell us because they don't know any other way they could get in there, you know.
Right.
I hate this when it's raining like this and
Well,
I go out, it's some of the best pictures. Huh?
Need you one of them little window sills.
Yeah,
right
I hadn't thought of that, but I bet I could buy one because I always get these wet. You know what it costs to get them fixed?
Oh, I don't.
Same amount as buying a new one.
I don't need to go there, so.
It's expensive. I thought he would fly, but I didn't want to scare him.
Right.
But
Oh, they're pretty used to us down around here.
well, I guess they got pretty tame. Yeah.
Well, there's some guys that feed them over
On there, yeah. There's
pond.
one guy's been feeding them for 5 years at that pond
Yeah, I see
since
him
they
all
first
the time. Yeah,
came. Yeah, he's in plumbing,
yeah.
and he'll stop after work.
Feed them breadcrumbs. I've seen him many times.
Yeah. What's your name?
I'm Mike.
Mike. I'm Aubrey Shepherd. Glad to know you, Mike.
Sir.
So you live around here too?
Oh, I live in Elkins. Yeah.
In Elkins? So you work for Heckathorn, yeah.
Yeah.
What, now both the old men have died, hadn't they?
No, Guilford just passed away here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but the one that was actually running your company was
Don?
Yeah,
No,
he
he's still
died.
alive.
Is he?
Yeah. he's
Well, there's
still
a
alive.
third one, I guess. Another brother died a few months ago,
That was-
or a year or two ago.
That was Leo. He died
Leo,
sometime.
a year or
back.
two or
Yeah.
more, I don't know. But yeah, I know Jack that runs that storage over there.
Yeah, Jack, he's right there. I need to get down here and clean this damn thing up. I was going to do it today.
You ain't gonna do nothing out here today.
Maybe swim.
You got an excuse not to, I guarantee.
Well, I was out looking around this morning, you know, trying to see if I had any water damage problems anywhere. Trying to do some control work. And I got snooping over here. I got to get a little trash here.
Well, you're gonna have trash because all these
Well, I'm down. I'm just about
students,
done from it.
all these people throw their cups and junk out, paper bags, and
Yeah, but
it's
it's still
everywhere.
my responsibility, though.
well, yeah, you get stuck with it.
So I'm kind of stuck there.
Back off. Well, I better get out of here and let you get.
All right, well,
Get out of the
I'm
rain.
just kind of curious.
Yeah. This is one of your holes you dug for a tree here. Certainly got a lot of water.
Apparently the water level came up when we did.
Well, this one's not as deep, but I bet if you dig under it, it's full too, because it's caught a lot of water today. And
Probably has, over there's some mole action, so I'm sure it has a lot to do with who's what where, including me.
yeah, the comes up underground here in places like that, doesn't it? Be a good place for a
Well, even where
button bush. That one over here too. Has this risen since you came out here? It was about the same. But it rained so much this morning. So you got this ground pretty nice.
there's a little Swedish ivy over there. Kind of as a placeholder, but this is where I got the carpet out. And there's a lot of fescue in here, but the Swedish ivy is kind of pleasant. It's not native, but it is called Swedish, so we'll have to look into that. But it'll make a nice cover in here. We have a couple of nice red buds and a few other things in here that are native. That's a nice one. There's a lovely one.
Yeah, I put some
Here.
milkweed seed and maybe buttonbush seed back here too, so I think I may have gotten some
Right.
scattered
Yeah,
some
Scattered things.
assorted things that are suitable. And hoping to see a white wild indigo in here. Be a nice backdrop plant when it gets 5 feet tall. Buttonbush in a couple of years might be bigger than that. Steve Scatterbo's spot. He's not here today, but not a week ago I guess he was here and did a lot in a hurry, so figure he'll come back when he has a chance. He's got plenty of responsibilities. And Lauren and the goat and several other people worked on this area. Goat hadn't been here for a year. Hear mallard quacking. Thought I heard geese a few minutes ago. Well, there's still a small flow this afternoon on the World Peace Wetland Prairie on the 29th of March 2008, and this is a result of big rain early this morning. Several big bursts of rain came through and thunderstorms of significance, but none of them lasted very long. So this is nice. Keep the ground moist just when things are ready to grow. So we hope to see a lot of this grass come up that Chuck West put in last year. Cut it early, but he said it would go to seed already. It was already okay to reproduce here, so we look forward to that. And of course, some other things like a transplanted rattlesnake master just back there. It should have some new growth by now. A couple of the volunteers brought that over from near the northwest corner of World Peace Wetland Prairie and transplanted it when it was growing season a year or two ago. Well, here's the rattlesnake master's new growth. Needs some fescue pulled away from it. Give it a better chance to reach the sky here. Hope to see a tall stem. This one was 5 feet standing up straight, or a little more, last summer. It was kind of mixed in here with a lot of tall grass and many other things, but it's got a chance to do it again. So we look forward to that. New grass, other things coming up back in this area. We don't know what all to expect back here. We put out some seed in addition to what was already growing here. So maybe we'll be able to identify some things. There's a button bush there that's never been very tall, but hoping this year the new growth will take it up another foot or two so you can see the buttons from outside of here. A lot of button bushes were hidden on this property, and I'm surprised when you find some of them because of the honeysuckle that's so thick. Hope to see more native button bushes and things growing out in here. As they get established, maybe we can have a reasonable excuse for removing a few of the privet and other plants that are in there that are not native. As it stands now, that's all the critters have for habitat, so the birds like them. Nesting. China honeysuckle, such as that. Here's a privet that's got new leaves on it. They stay green most of the year, but new green growth is coming right now. It's a nice plant. Sorry it's not a native. It could be better if it had tastier berries. It's a pretty wet spot right in here too. Little water standing on the surface. We know there's underground water here. The berries are gone. I can't see the buckbrush here very well in this area. And the berries are finally all gone for this year. Maybe the deer eat them at the very end of the season. Maybe that's it. But suddenly they're just gone, and we don't know how we missed that day of change. The berries disappear. Wait a minute, there might be. Yeah, here's a sort of sad little batch of berries that not been eaten, so certainly aren't pretty coral berries now. They're just dried up coral berries. See, the flow comes down through that central brushy area, angling across. And there around that willow, and on down that way, and off to the southeast, and under South Duncan Avenue. This example of the swamp milkweed plant with the orange band on it. It's about 6 feet tall in places. Standing up straight, it may still be that. It is still that, but anyway, it's growing here near the center flow area, possibly 10 feet from the area that flows most consistently, but it's all of this has water year-round with just a reasonable bit of rain, of course, but even in the driest times there's going to be a little underground water out in this area. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, that willow, as they often do, is growing right in the middle of the main flow area. This makes a little natural marshy place here. Of course, when you get across there at the edge of the stream, near the stream, we call Soup Branch, that's pretty consistently wet. Water's nice and clean right now. It's running through the grass for 200 feet nearly, and whatever silt loads coming across is not carried down here quite so far as it would be, or as it was a year or two ago when they first cleared that. I think it's eroded away a little bit, and there's an extra silt fence that helps. You can see that this cleared area is fed by one of the natural flows off this wetland that slopes in here in that direction, which is west, where the geese probably are right now. We wanted to climb the fence and go look. And here's the new growth on the trumpet honeysuckle, the native Lonicera sempervirens, which is got those purple looking leaves, and you can see parts of it down in there, all across over there, and yeah, there's a sprig running toward the little plum tree there, so it often climbs that plum tree in the last couple of years since its plum tree's grown up. Of course, it goes all the way back over in there and even further in there. So that's a pretty nice stand of it, but we wish we could find it in more areas. There were some in the past, but pretty hard to find right now. Just have to remember to recognize those leaves and distinguish them from those Japanese honeysuckle leaves that are so plentiful out here. But most distinguishing mark when you're seeing this kind of vine is that not only is the new growth long and slender and purplish at this stage, it also doesn't climb so violently and strangle other plants. You can see examples of plants over there with Japanese honeysuckle, and they're wrapped tightly. So it's important to encourage this, which you can see its stems are the looser ones. Do really no damage to the host plants that we can see. just get this to expand this year, that would be real progress. So we'll keep trimming the bad honeysuckle away during the growing season. This is almost the very center of World Peace Wetland Prairie. We're on a mound which is adjacent to the central flow area, and you can see that we have a tree growing right in the middle of the water and several around it. There's a tree that probably wasn't well suited for this much flow. And this cedar's doing well here, and so you can see that it's an interesting little hidey-hole for a deer, a rabbit, or whatever. But I'm sure those woodcocks that we jump sometimes are using this kind of area, but the deer hadn't been in here very much. I don't see any tracks, and there's no real cleared out area. They'd eat their way through this if they wanted to, I guess, trumpet down, but they tend to be out. It's a little easier to travel.